What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. Well, first, I want to say salute to Anthony Joshua for his victory over Jermaine Franklin. Salute to Jermaine Franklin for coming out and doing what the best he could do tonight. Now, I'm not shocked that the fight went the distance. I don't know why people are so overly dramatic about the decision in the fight. People just don't know what they want. They don't know what to believe. They don't even know what they're saying, because they'll say Anthony Joshua has not been the same since he lost to Andy Ruiz, and he had Garcia in his corner. He went through 3 different trainers, now Derrick James. There's not going to be a big improvement. The fight goes the distance, and they're acting as if they're surprised and shocked after they didn't expect a big improvement. Okay, then you have those that are saying, Anthony Joshua, I expect him to go out and go for the knockout early, impose his will early. Anthony Joshua has always been the type of guy. He's a boxer puncher. Okay, he's not a pure boxer. He's been a boxer puncher. Anthony Joshua doesn't let his hands go like he used to. And what made him effective was the combination punching and throwing punches, with speed. And his size had nothing to do with it, because he was 255 tonight, but he was always at least 250 in his fights. So that had nothing to do with him like slowing him down or whatever. Anthony Joshua is trying to be more calm. He's, trying to be more of a boxer. And he doesn't throw his shots with the same type of speed that he used to. Now, he basically dominated the fight. He won a unanimous decision, okay? And you never know what a fight is going to look like until fight night. And I say this over and over and over, because people use their imaginations with how they think the fight's going to go. And then when it doesn't go that way, Anthony Joshua's never been the kind of guy that just comes out reckless and just starts throwing bombs from the very beginning. The difference with back in the day versus now is his confidence was different. And basically, once he rocked you, he would jump on you. You see him being more cautious now. Okay, so, yeah. And then people are saying, oh, he can't beat Daniel Dubois. He can't beat anybody. He can't do this. He can't do that. Do you guys just do you guys not pay attention to this? Jermaine Franklin is a good fighter. He's just not popular. Okay? And Jermaine Franklin did way better against Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte got knocked out in 6 rounds by Tyson Fury. And when he fought Jermaine Franklin, basically even after the Fury knockout, people were saying, well, Whyte will be able to compete with other guys. It's just Fury. Okay, well, even if you believe that, he struggled against Jermaine Franklin. And Jermaine Franklin looked like he was in much better shape tonight than he was when he fought Dillian Whyte. And he said he had more time to prepare this time against AJ versus when he fought Dillian, right? But if Anthony Joshua looked so bad and he won a unanimous decision versus Dillian Whyte, who most people feel like lost the fight, okay, like, it's basically this type of thing where people want to see the old AJ back. The same AJ that they didn't appreciate, because that's the AJ that everybody was still trying to say, well, the real champion was Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder hasn't fought in Jermaine Franklin. Okay, he hasn't fought anybody other than Tyson Fury. Berman Stavern is who he got the belt from. It's no different from, AJ getting the belt from Charles Martin. And then the Luis Ortiz. So his whole, Luis Ortiz is decent to me. Okay, decent. I don't see him the way everybody else tries to make him like he's so invincible. If he was, he wouldn't have got knocked out with the same punch twice. Just saying. Okay? So all these different fighters and different people that have their comments that's not fighting anybody, they need to just shut up and step their game up. Because at the end of the day, for a guy to not be as popular as his opponent, nobody knows Jermaine Franklin. He got more recognition losing to Dillian Whyte than all of his wins in his career. So, for that reason, people are going, now look at what they're saying. Oh, but look at his size difference to this guy. Look at how much bigger he is. Look at his height, his reach. Same things I was saying about Usyk, and people, oh man, but Usyk is not a small guy. Nobody said he was a small guy. But compared to Anthony Joshua, even though Anthony Joshua came in much lighter, he's naturally a much bigger and stronger guy, which means he fought him so cautiously And instead of going there and taking the fight to him, he tried to outbox him. Okay, like I told you guys, there's guys Anthony Joshua could fight the same way he fought Usyk and still win and completely win a unanimous decision over them. Okay, there's only one Usyk in the division. So now all of a sudden, Daniel Dubois will be. Do you remember what happened? Just happened to Daniel Dubois? To a guy that's not as good as Jermaine Franklin? Not nearly as good as Jermaine Franklin. Do you guys forget that? So a lot of people just talking out their ass, just saying things. Now, the way I see it, yes, to reconnect with the people. If he would have went there and let's say he would have got an astonishing knockout, yeah. Because I told you the first thing they're going to do is they're going to compare his performance to Dylan's. But because it's AJ, unless AJ really goes in there and hurt him, put a beating on him, really, they're going to sit there and they're going to say the things that they're saying. The fact is he got the win. Now, you think, of course, he'll go home. They'll watch the fight. He'll see what he was doing, what he could do better, what he could have did different. Every fight is a different fight. Anthony Joshua has always said he has troubles against smaller fighters. It's something about fighting shorter guys that it's not the same. He's used to fighting the taller guys. At the end of the day, it's not about changing Anthony Joshua. It's about adding to what he does. And no, he doesn't look like you don't see any real significant you don't see the dominance. You don't see the willingness to go in there and get you out of there. You don't see the combination punching. He was just throwing jabs and one shot at a time. He was working off the jab like a sparring match. So the most that people are going to say is that it was a boring fight. In terms of, what he actually did, but not understanding that the same guy in Dillian White who's running around here now, AJ's a cunt, he's this, he's that. The reason why, Dillian White is pissed off is because he wanted the Anthony Joshua to melt down. Okay, it's not there, Anthony Joshua. He was one of the first people to say anything about Anthony Joshua and what he did in losing to Usyk. And he's saying all that because he don't want to prepare Anthony Joshua. And he's saying that they had talks and then there's nothing. Okay, he fought my leftovers. Okay, Dillian White's talking about fighting Carlos Takam. That's an Anthony Joshua leftover. He was asked, by Kukin. And he was asked would he entertain fighting Derek Chisora in the fourth fight. He said absolutely. Yeah, Derek Chisora always come to... Oh, please, Dylan. Why don't you try to get fights with a Joe Joyce? Huh? Remember when Joe Joyce was calling you out? Daniel Dubois calling you out. And basically your brother saying it was disrespectful because you're so much advanced and you've done so much more and they haven't. Instead of fighting Joe Joyce, and Daniel Dubois looked vulnerable in his last fight, didn't he? Yeah, went down 3 times by a guy that nobody really knew. And at the end of the day, you're not trying to call out a Joe Joyce. You're not even trying to call out Daniel Dubois. You're talking about fighting a fourth fight with Derek Chisora or Carlos Takam, somebody that Anthony Joshua already wiped the floor with. So guess what? It makes no difference about what you're saying. Every fighter is going to come out, and do what they have to do that night, whether we think it was a disappointing or a good performance or not. It is what it is. But you struggled against Jermaine Franklin. The only difference with Dillian White is he's one-dimensional. Like his style, that's it. For him, he likes to go in there and just try to bang. He'll try to walk around a little bit, circle around at times and whatever, but, he puts himself in harm's way to where he's just not talented enough to not put himself in harm's way. Okay? Jermaine Franklin did way better against White. So if you want to compare the performances, well, you barely won. And again, most people feel like you lost. Anthony Joshua just won a unanimous decision. Now, when I'm watching him, of course, it's things that I see that he could do different. Things that, he's, like I always say, he's not using his physical gifts So why y'all didn't see that when I was saying the same things when he was fighting against Usyk? Okay, you can't outbox Usyk. You got to go in there and you have to be able to become that boxer puncher again. You're not a pure boxer. And that's what he's trying to do, is be a pure boxer. And that's why he's not getting knockouts. That's why he's not landing the shots with the same force. And he's not, even like, for example, he went for the KO against Usyk in the second fight. You didn't see him do that against Jermaine Franklin. So basically, under Derek James' training, you see he wanted him to keep it long, stay behind his jab. And like he was telling him, when you throw your jab and you go in there and throw your shots, I want you to step back and throw the check hook, because he's responding to everything you're doing, right? Anthony Joshua was doing the things that Derek James was asking him to do. He just wasn't aggressive. No, we haven't seen that fire. We haven't seen that same Anthony Joshua. No. But understand something, okay? We looking at the fight from our own perspective is not necessarily what Derek James has him doing. Because you got to understand, just like we say about Wilder and anybody else, a lot of fighters, they're comfortable doing certain things. Which is why, for example, like 2 years ago when I made a video talking about how Lennox Lewis, people didn't want to give him the credit for being the best of his era. And they're bringing up, oh, but Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, Vitaly Klitschko was at the end of his career. He was 38 years old. And he retired after that fight, which I think was the right move. Because unless you were going to fight Vitaly again, people were going to they already didn't like Lennox Lewis. So they were going to automatically, he's ducking, and they basically want to see him lose. Okay? But at the end of the day, it shows you. Look at, Lewis had that aggression. Lewis had that come forward, engage and throw bombs and try to get you out of there. But that's, when he got caught by Oliver McCall, when he got caught by Hassan Rahman, it's boxing. Shit happens. But he became a much better boxer. So he progressed as a boxer better than Anthony Joshua did. Yes, he did. And people was, if he's such a great boxer, why did he get knocked out by Oliver McCall? Why he get knocked out by Hassan Rahman? And it's like, you guys are just too dumb to even have a conversation with. Okay, first off, Oliver McCall was before Emmanuel Stewart. Rahman was after and with Emmanuel Stewart. But the point is boxing, shit happens. Okay, why did Ken Norton get knocked out in 2 rounds by Ernie Shavers? But nobody brings that up. Why did Roberto Duran get blasted in 2 rounds by Thomas Hearns? But nobody brings that up. So it's what I'm saying. It's boxing. Shit happens. Why did Harold Sconia knock out Deontay Wilder, and the referee basically gave Deontay Wilder a second chance in the same fight? Nobody brings that up, and you can't find that Harold Sconia versus Deontay Wilder fight nowhere. There's reasons for that. Just basically saying, overall, no, we won't see that old AJ. This is the AJ that we see, and if he can get that spark, that hunger back, that belief to go in there and let his hands go, let them combinations come out, if he can tap back into that, that's going to come down to him. So what I'm not going to do is, I don't stress myself out about any of these guys. I sit back to enjoy the fight, and there's always something that we can take out of it. But for me, I can't look at this fight and automatically just say, oh, this guy beat him, that guy beat him. Again, like I said, you see these guys are wishy-washy. Because like I said, Daniel Dubois just got starched in his last fight and went down 3 times. He finally got the guy out of there, which is what matters. But now all of a sudden, AJ couldn't even beat Dubois. Dubois this, Dubois that. Like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. Who his next opponent will be, we don't know. He said that he'll be back in the summertime. And yeah, he said he'd love to fight Fury. He asked the fans who they want to see him fight, and of course they're all saying Fury. How many people really want to see him versus, Dillian White again? Right? You don't know. Will that be his next fight? I don't know. That's the fight that I feel like that's what they were leading to. And that's based on Eddie Hearn saying he wanted to have 2 fights. And first they were talking about Zhilei Zhang and, then another guy, Avatar China. Then they wanted White, then Wilder. Okay? But at the same time, when you're screaming, now's the time, because the guy, is not in his right mind and you feel more confident that you'll win, what does that say about you? right? So when Dylan starts talking, it's like, all right, man, this guy he's salty, he's bitter, he's always in that pissy mood. So you sound like you need Anthony Joshua. And he's saying, I'm not going to wait for him, I'm going to move on. Cool, do that. But we don't want to see you fight no fucking Carlos Takam. Not now. We don't want, and you were one of the people that was saying Carlos Takam is washed up. You. Ain't it funny? He was washed up when he fought Anthony Joshua. He's a good fighter, but he's not the same. And now here it is, years later, you want to fight Carlos Takam. And a fourth fight with Derek Chisora. Yo, same way, Dillian White, you need to be trying to get in there with Dubois, who called you out. You need to be trying to get in there with a Joe Joyce who called you out. You know, if you're going to fight an underclassman or someone that's at least seen as an underclassman, go fight F.A. Ajaba. Better yet, you know who I want to see you fight, Dillian White? I want to see you fight Frank Sanchez. How about you fight Frank Sanchez? Since it's all about fighting the very best in the... Okay. Because Carlos Takam, at this point in his career, stop it. Derek Chisora, at this point in his career, stop it. Stop it. And Tyson Fury smacked him around so bad that Derek Chisora was saying, I think it's time to retire. You know, I can't keep going on like this. Damn, it's the first time I've seen you get beat up that bad. You know, at least in a while. And you talking about trying to retire all in one fight when all before you got in there with Fury the last time, Derek Chisora was talking about, you see the type of money they giving out and I ain't retiring. I'm not a pussy. I'm not retiring. I'm going to continue to fight. That's what he was saying, right? Then after that Tyson Fury ass whooping, he started talking about, I can't continue to go on like this. Damn. So if he decides to stick around and if he actually will entertain a fight with Dillian White, a fourth fight, it's not so much about Chisora, because Chisora, he got his little pension check and he's trying to stick around. I told you guys that didn't mean that was his last fight because he said that. But the guy is clearly, you know, trying to chase this money. But what does he say about Dillian White? Just saying. So all that talking that he's doing and has done is crazy. And it's meaningless. And it's hypocritical. But as far as AJ goes, me personally, he went to 12 rounds. He didn't look gassed out. You know, he won the fight. He dominated. He won a unanimous decision. Was I impressed by what he did? No. No. But I did like the fact that he kept it long, stayed behind his jab. He still looks sometimes when he gets in there, he kind of waits a little bit. And he kind of like throws shots and kind of stand there after he throws a shot instead of moving his head. And he jumps straight back and kind of like, you know, I don't like when he does that. That's something that we always teach fighters. Don't jump back and turn your head that way. I mean, and when you do it repeatedly, somebody will catch you. The thing with Jermaine Franklin, he was just too short. Too short of a reach and not fast enough to get there to make, you know, to catch up to AJ for doing that. And that's why, you know, Derek James got on him about that. And when Anthony Joshua, you know, I always tell a fighter, when you're not ready to punch, don't be there. Anthony Joshua's not that slick of a boxer to like kind of, you know, make him miss, make him pay with the counter shots. Like, he doesn't do that. Anthony Joshua works off his jab, and how he always has done it is he keeps it long. And when you throw and he make you miss and then make you pay, that's when he would load up. And Anthony Joshua would break you down to the body and the head. He'd walk you down. He'd get you out of there. And he knew how to keep that pressure steady. To keep reading the same comments. To keep hearing the same comments over and over. Ever since the Andy Ruiz fight, he ain't been the same. Ever since the Usyk fight, he ain't been the same. People, he's not going to become a new fighter. It's just things that they're trying to tweak. This is his first fight with Derek James. I can't tell you how much better he's going to get, if he's going to get much better. I don't know that. He's at a point in his career. He's 33. He's been fighting for a while now. Okay? So, what he has to offer, that's going to come down to him and Derek James. Okay? So, I don't understand why you guys, you expect more out of him than what you think he can do. But then when he doesn't do it, you're surprised. Then you expect him to fight in ways that we've never seen him fight. AJ was always the guy that fills you out the first couple of rounds. He never came out first round and just started blasting you. He got Charles Martin out of there. Charles Martin didn't want to fight. He felt something earlier that made him say, okay, no. Anthony Joshua does not show his full punching power simply because when he's throwing these shots, he's trying to be so careful that he's throwing them, and he's kind of like, and I'm watching this like, damn, AJ, why do you look so slow? And this was even when he fought against Usyk. I told you guys, he's trying to be so cautious. We know it's a confidence thing with him. We know that. Now, what he does next, you see his next move. So no, it was impressive in the sense that he was able to dominate every round, and I think he should have, versus the simple fact that would I have liked to see him knock Jermaine Franklin out? Yes. Would I have liked to see a confident, I'm still that dude? Yes. Would I have liked to see him go in there and do a performance where the crowd is just going crazy? He got to, yes. But is he capable of doing it? I don't mean physically. I mean here. That's what his issue has been. So I can't sit here. It doesn't matter what you and I want to see. And I'm pretty sure he wished he can look at the fight and say the point is the win was what was important. I agree 100%. He got the win. What if the fight would have been as close as it was with White? What if it was a close fight, period? What if it was a split decision or a majority? Then what would you say about him then, right? So this is not about about the point of defending Anthony Joshua because it's Anthony Joshua. It's the principles. Guys, Anthony Joshua is a good fighter. The style that he's trying to approach is just not him. And if you're going to be a pure boxer and you want to try, he needs to pop that jab more. He needs to give angles. Anthony Joshua stands there right up in front of you. He will circle around here and there, back out a little bit, but he's not punching while he's doing these things. And that's why him being a boxer puncher, that's what he was. And it's better suited for that because that's when he gets the weight behind his shots. He really throws his shots with power. He's not doing that now. There's a lot that I could say. But he got the win. This is a rebuilding stage. We just have to see from here what happens. Now, let's say that he does fight Dillian White next. He goes there and knocks Dillian out again. After all that shit Dillian's talking. Okay? Where does Dillian go from there? Where does he go from there? But of course, the way Dillian's talking, he's not going to wait. That's okay. But he's not trying to fight the top guys. He's fighting leftovers. Journeyman. That's what Dillian's doing. So what I'm saying is, why are you doing all this criticizing? Let's not forget the bullshit that Tyson Fury's been doing. Let's not forget the bullshit that Dillian White has been through and has been doing. Let's not forget Deontay Wilder just fought a fucking journeyman. Okay? So when you break the four of them down, well, at least Anthony Joshua can say, well, I did lose to Usyk, who's the best heavyweight out there. Deontay Wilder can make the argument, well, I did lose to Tyson Fury, who is arguably the best, number one, number two with Usyk. But see, he can't do that because he's still holding on to the whole, he cheated. He cheated me. Okay? He cheated me. He didn't beat me fair and square. Dillian White went in there and couldn't even perform against Tyson Fury. Dillian White's never fought Usyk. He's never fought Wilder. Okay? He tried. But that's my point. It's been bullshit. And AJ was the only one trying to fight all of those guys. So yes, he's not the same dude that he was. And it is what it is. But stop setting yourselves up for failure because you guys keep imagining him being better than what he actually is. This is what AJ has. Well, if he goes in there with Fury and he get knocked out, so be it. It's a fight he wanted, right? So if he win, lose, or draw, make the fight. If he wants to fight Deontay Wilder, which he should, okay? Any of those guys, make it happen. But until these guys are willing to get in the ring with each other and stop all this bitching about money, stop all this making it every excuse that you possibly can, to not fight certain guys, then they all need to just shut up, focus on their career. Deontay Wilder made a comment about how easy it is to make a fight when the best want to fight the best. And what did he just end up saying a couple of weeks ago? It's too many loopholes and different tunnels, and just the game. It's very difficult to make the best fight. So you went from saying when the best want to fight the best is easy to making all these sense to saying that it's a lot of loopholes. Well, at the end of the day, we know that Team AJ offered you deals several times, and you a guy that was in the Klitschko era and could have fought Klitschko, but you didn't. You a guy that could have fought Charles Martin before Anthony Joshua, but you didn't. And the thing is, what Anthony Joshua started doing, these guys had a jump start, 5 years at least ahead of him as a pro. And he accomplished more than all of those guys. You understand what I'm saying? He accomplished more than all of them in a much shorter time. And the thing is, when he first got his very first title, he was still green, but he was deadly. And we see there's a difference from that Anthony Joshua to this Anthony Joshua. So to sit here and keep telling yourselves what he's going to do, I keep telling you guys, I don't know what's going to happen when the guys get in the ring because I'm not them. I'm there. Listen, I'm not training them and I'm not them. You know, so I wasn't shocked about the performance. People saying he looked awful, he looked terrible, he's a terrible fighter, he's this, he's that. I feel like the style he's trying to fight, he has to be more active with his jab. He needs to give you more angles. And yes, he does need to get back to his combination punching. Yes, I agree 1,000%. But to say he looks awful when he just fucking dominated a guy that Dillian White struggled against, and then you guys said it was a good fight when Dillian White fought Franklin. Well, it was a good fight because Dillian White doesn't know, how to do things any different than what he did. And that's why the fight was closer. Okay? And this is a fight that basically, Dillian White made it sound like he wanted this fight and Jermaine Franklin was running from him. Jermaine Franklin was working, wasn't a full-time fighter, wasn't dedicated to a full-time type training camp and lifestyle before he fought Dillian White. And Dillian White was talking like this was a Super Bowl fight. But then he turns around and says they wanted Jermaine Franklin, who's coming off of a loss. Okay, but you just agreed to fight Derek Chisora, who's coming off of a loss. You agreed that, you would fight a Carlos Takam, who basically hasn't done shit in a long time. So who really wants to see you at the O2 Arena or any arena fighting Carlos Takam or Derek Chisora in the fourth fight? Oh, he always comes to fight. Yeah, but he always lose. And he managed to get the win against Pulev. And regardless, you already beat this guy twice. So what else is it to do? What is it to do? A third fight with this guy, whatever. I might have mistakes in fourth or whatever. But whatever. What else is it to do between you and Derek Chisora? For what? What would be the purpose? So if you want to show that you still on top of the food chain, as I stated, fight Frank Sanchez, fight Joe Joyce, fight a Daniel Dubois. And like I said, if you're going to go a step down, no lower than an F.A. Ajaba. Just saying. So if we're going to be honest about AJ, which we should be honest regardless to who it is, be honest about all of those guys. Okay? Regardless to who you think would win. I don't care if you think everybody would beat AJ. The point is, he got in there, he did what he had to do, and he did way better than the guy that you guys said had a good fight with Jermaine Franklin. It wasn't a good fight. It was a one-sided motherfucking jab, 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 right hand. It was basically just one-sided. It wasn't close at all. He managed to bust AJ's nose, had his nose bleeding, but that's about it. He didn't do any damage to Anthony Joshua. So, yeah, there's things that you have to look at it this way. Like I said, when he and Derek James go sit and look at the tape and study the film, those things that he's doing and not doing will come up in conversation, will come up in training. It will be focused training, targeting things that he can do better. How much he improves, only time will tell. Aries can't sit here and tell you how good Anthony Joshua is going to become. I can't say that. If he will get better or not, I do not know that. But again, at least he was in it trying to make the fights happen. And I would honestly rather see him go in there and lose to Fury or Wilder or whoever else than to sit back and keep saying and say, I can beat these guys, these guys, but choose to fight other people. The guy came off with 2 losses. What I seen in this fight, He's trying to do things that Derrick James, taught him in training, trying to adjust to, let me try to perfect what I'm doing. And no, he didn't look like the old AJ, okay, for the 100th time. But this is what I saw. Him trying to work on different things. Him trying to, whenever when you seen Anthony Joshua step back and throw the check, he used to do that shit, you see? So Derrick James is basically reminding him of things that he used to do. And he's telling him, because Anthony Joshua is very tentative. He fights very tight, like he's trying to not get hit with unnecessary shots, and he's trying to not walk into something. This is what we see in him. We just have to see what type of progression happens. And at the same time, it's not for us to predetermine who will win a fight and say it's no need for the fight to happen. So basically, just fight every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes through. Nah. He beat Jermaine Franklin tonight. Let's see who his next fight will be against. If Dylan wants to fight someone else, if that fight, whatever it may be, I personally feel like this. They're not getting any younger. He's 33 years old now. If they want to try to get in there with Wilder, if they want to try to renegotiate with Fury, whatever it may be, we'll just have to wait back and see. I'm not into this, I would give him 2 or 3 more fights. No. Anthony Joshua don't want to fight journeymen. He don't want to fight lesser opponents. Okay? But this is a fight that happened because I need to be able to go in there and see what I can do. I need to be able to go in there and see how comfortable I feel. Every fighter has those type of fights. Okay? At some point. And that's what I saw. This was like a fill-out fight. This is my reset. Let me see what I have. And then we'll see if he looks any better in his next fight against whoever it may be. But shout out to him. Shout out to Jermaine Franklin. They came in there, they fought. AJ got the win, and that's what's most important. But no, I wasn't impressed by the performance. I don't think it was a terrible performance, okay? Like people, it's awful. No, I just think, like I said, the style that he's trying to fight, he needs to be busier with that jab. Work behind that stick, give angles, and basically, when you use your feints, don't just feint and then move away. Jump backwards when the guy comes in. You got to learn how to, lateral movement. Throw your shots, your short chopping shots inside. AJ has also been a very good inside fighter. But we just haven't seen Anthony Joshua in his old form. So, as a trainer, maybe Derrick James could sit down too with him and watch some of his old fights and let him, remind him, let him see what he was doing. Look at the things that you don't do anymore. Anthony Joshua fights himself. Even in his press conference, you heard him say on one of these interviews, I'm not 23. I can't relive those days again. No, it's not about reliving those days. It's about understanding. There's things that you do that was successful for you. You were successful because of those things, and you're not doing those things anymore. So, so you have to go in there and put it all together. And so it is what it is. But he got the victory. That's what's most important. And you know what? If Anthony Joshua had it his way, he would be in there fighting Fury. He would be in there fighting against Deontay Wilder. Unlike a lot of these other guys who just keep talking and talking. I respect Dylan White's resume and the fact that he was getting there with the top, trying to get in there with the top guys as well. But Dylan White, man, the shit he says is just unbearable at times because he's all about himself. He think the world's supposed to move and not move based on his actions. That's not how that shit worked, man. You in there fucking talking about you been fighting all these tough guys. Yeah, so is Anthony Joshua. And he was champion for a reason. But you sitting here talking about fighting AJ leftovers now. Stop it, man. You sound foolish. Anyway, talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all in the next video.